Before we begin today's episode, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respects to elders past, present, and future. To Earthbound Era with your host, CJ. Today, I am accompanied by these wonderful, wonderful friends of mine in which we recently ran our first Bush Doof together for our 30th. So me, Bryleigh, and Jordan Gately, who couldn't be here today. And it was
that
called...
guy.
Fuck that guy. And it was called Cornucopia. So today I figured let's all get together and have a little recap because it was fucking sick. So let's go around and just introduce yourselves, starting with Jackson.
Hello, I'm Jackson. Nice to meet you. Here I am on the podcast. Thank you, CJ, for having us.
Hi, Bryleigh.
I'm Eliza.
I'm Christopher. I'm Nathan.
And these are my friends. So how did this whole decision of a bush doof for our birthdays even start?
I believe we were in Liza's tent after our friends ran a doof called Solace over Easter, and the doof was pretty much over, and we were just kicking on. You know, it had been a long weekend, like partying and what have you, and the classic chat of we could do this.
Yeah.
Like, we could
let's open a bar.
Like we could definitely run a doof, and very quickly, Jackson was like, no, we could actually do this. And within like half an hour, we had listed out like possible venues, the way we'd do like the artist structuring. It turned serious very, very quickly.
The vision was born very quickly. It grew very fast through its infancy.
So who actually opened the group chat first?
It happened?
Well, as soon as we left Solace, I messaged a few people about random areas near Ararat that we could potentially use, and I messaged Anna and said Anna's who the property was on the Cornucopia. Anyway, I messaged Anna and I was like, how much do you reckon Hopkins charges to run stuff at the Crater, which is another festival that our friends run, and she was just like, just do it on our farm. I was like, fuck yeah. Messaged Nathan, I was like, yo, we've got a location on this farm, and then it literally from there just was very legit. Location's the hardest part, I guess.
It is the hardest part because, like, unfortunately, like for a lot of people who actually run events, like you actually need to find somewhere that's usually like a renegade area or like somewhere that, you know, the cops aren't going to find you or like shit like that. But luckily for us, we had a friend who lived somewhere like, you know, 4 hours out of Melbourne and it was fine. So I think like after we figured that out, we were like, okay, should we start designing and like have a little meeting about it and like, you know, how to go about it. Because at first we were like, we knew it was going to be like a 30th and we were like, but do we charge people?
Right, 'cause we had the 3 people that were turning 30 and that's how we're like, well, let's just do a massive 30th.
Yeah, because we were like, should we charge people or should we do it for free or like, you know, because obviously when you throw a party like this, it's a lot of funding. Like it's actually super expensive, especially when you don't have all the gear. But luckily Jackson had a lot of gear.
Everything.
Yeah, he had everything. What did you already have?
Hate too much.
On the weekend, I mean.
Yeah. Back then, like had the rig, had the sound system, had the generator, had like various tubs full of fucking cables everywhere, as these guys know who live with me.
Lots of the expensive stuff.
Unfortunately, had a lot of friends who I'm close to who helped me out by lending me stuff. Yeah. Like Will through yourself and other friends in the industry that I know.
And did you already have the speakers?
Yeah.
They're yours?
Yeah.
What speakers were they? Because they were fucking unreal.
It's a turbo sound system. So, for those who are nerdy and know what that is. If you know, you know.
So you had the speakers, you had the cables. We got lights from my friend Will. Shout out Will, sick cunt. And
Dave as well.
Dave
and
with
Andrew.
the shade sails.
Yeah.
Yep.
And some lighting and the laser from Dave as well.
The laser, yep. Beautiful.
As well as I have to give Andrew a big shout out from Bad Idea Factory. He helped me kind of work out how the lights were going to work and taught me how to program them and stuff leading up to the event.
You stayed up for like 12 hours one night or like
all night.
There was
zero sleep.
The week leading into that doof was pretty brutal for me. I was not treating myself very well. I was doing a couple of all-nighters, probably about 4 hours sleep a night on average.
I think you had two nights of no sleep
Yeah.
the week leading up to the event.
Yeah, including the night before we actually got to site. So that was an all-nighter. Hey, you got to do what you got to do to make the thing run.
Yeah, you ordering like the general setup while on no sleep like was fine in the morning, but you could tell as the day got on that it was like the wheels were starting to fall off a little.
I think Lynch mentioned to me he's never seen me work so slowly before towards the end of that day.
Jackson operates at a pretty fast pace most of the time, but yeah. The end of the first night of setting up, I was like watching Jackson go from like
Descent.
like a river to a trickle.
Yeah, he sent one message into the chat that was like, I think I'm getting sick. And then a few hours later, I'm all good now. Turns out I just needed to work on something. You did
ADHD.
Just need a distraction from the sickness, which is just more work.
So I think Bryleigh started drawing the first design of the stage. And then we collaborated and then we were like adding little things and we decided, okay, the vibe is Cornucopia because, me, Bryleigh and Gately, we're all Capricorns having our birthday in January. And we're like, fuck it, let's go with Cornucopia, which is a representation. Is it Greek mythology?
like the
Yeah.
yeah.
The Cornucopia was like, the myth behind it is that it was given as a gift and broken off as like from a goat's horn. So obviously Capricorn, our animal is a goat. So I found it was like a strong enough connection without being like obviously Capricorn related. It was just like a little bit of Greek mythology in there. But the cornucopia is a symbol of abundance.
Giving.
So I thought that was a really nice theme to kind of center the whole weekend around.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing. And like it's such a good theme to work off as well because, there's so many things to work with. Like there's the goat head and then there's like all the harvest and everything. So with the first drawing, the first design, like we had the goat head on the top and we're like, let's give the fucking goat a third eye and that'll be sick. And like, let's have the fucking lasers
out of it.
And so, then that. And then we're like, let's chuck some pumpkins in there. And like, it was just like coming together so quickly that we were like, oh shit, like, we've decided like a leave no trace, which was a big thing. All of us have this idea that everything should be leave no trace. And a lot of the festivals that we go to are that, and we're lucky enough to be in a community where people pick after themselves.
Sticks to a more like burner ethos.
Yeah,
where
exactly
you
right.
aren't, the place that you're going to go party isn't going to provide
I
you.
suppose it at the like dance floor area. Like the campsites were left all spotless. Everybody took everything. There wasn't anything left behind.
Everyone did a fucking ripper job cleaning up.
Yes.
And I think
that was
not
good.
charging people as well like fits into the whole abundance theme. And like because you mentioned you want to put it on for everyone. We're not charging. Donations obviously are welcome, but we want to do this and share with you our arts and talent and everything.
I think also because the entire crowd was either our direct mates or mates of mates, and like the kind of people that we all associate with are all very, tidy
Mindful.
people.
Absolutely.
Straight up legends.
I'm just going to trash our mates'
Straight up
land.
sinker.
Fucking love you all.
There was a donation jar and it had like 500 plus dollars in it towards the end, and that sat there throughout the whole 4 days we were there. There was 100 plus people coming through, and it sat there the whole time.
Yeah.
Like
That to
and
me
there
was
wasn't
the
even
biggest.
a question whether I should leave. I didn't even think about it until the very end. I was like, oh fuck, that sat there the whole time.
Yeah.
And of course it was fine, but like it's just you couldn't do that everywhere.
No,
definitely not.
Also, like there was like times where I was just like leaving my phone literally everywhere, and like my bag was there, and I just knew it was like safe. And it's like fuck, I wish like every bush doof could be like that. I feel like a lot of the small ones you could get away with it, but you don't really want to test the waters. But like coming back to like the cleanliness side of things, like even like cleaning the toilets, like they were so clean the entire time. Like there was like no one fucking like pissed everywhere or anything. Like it was just like so clean, and like it was just
How it should
just
be.
a reflection. Yeah, it's exactly a reflection of
I
the
actually did a
respect.
small munt in one of the toilets. It's a good. And when it was a small one, and when it happened, I sat there, I cleaned it. I was like, I have to clean this. And I cleaned up my munt.
This is the kind of people we had at our party. Very respectful.
So good.
I think that also like is a nod to the amount of people that were like, I've never felt so comfortable and safe at a doof to be like myself.
Yeah.
Like it really fostered an environment where people just felt like they could be themselves, be really silly. Like the amount of just like cooked shit that I saw going on. Like totally just like any time of day, especially during the grounding break though, there was some real nonsense going on and
Absolute shenanigans.
We should talk about that decision to have the grounding break.
yeah. That's a good shout. So when it was time to like do all the programming music wise, we put in a break between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. on the Saturday where there was no artists, no music. The stage was essentially closed. And we borrowed that idea from Boom Festival in Portugal where every day between 6 and 10 p.m. there's no music and you just sort of go and you eat and you rest and you sort of, you know, figure yourself out before the night ahead. And I think the choice for us to do that was probably like an absolute win.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Everyone was talking about that. It's nice to like, and if you've met people you haven't met before, it was nice to be able to just have a chat with them, eat dinner, look after yourself and just like regroup.
Yeah, you kind of
Such
like
a good one.
force everyone to be like, eat,
Yeah.
stop partying, like, you know, do something good for yourself, sit down. And you don't feel like like one of the things that somebody said to me was like, usually I'll be rushing to like quickly go back, get changed for like the night, eat something, and then I like might miss a really good set. So I like don't eat properly or like, you know, I just feel like I'm rushing. Whereas this was just 2 hours to just take your time.
Yep.
Don't force it. And then, our friend who's not here, fucking Gately, opened the night. Yeah, boo. Boo louder. Opened the night again from 8 o'clock with just like the perfect set to bring in our night of psytrance.
Yeah, it was also a really clever way of us being able to do a pretty big genre switch in the music program as well. Because in that morning we had drum and bass and some stuff around that style. And then in the Arvo, like you mentioned, moving into kind of bush techno into psytrance. Yeah. So it's a little hack for you guys out there running Doofs.
But I did also want to come back to the setup, and I thought it was really funny because on the first day it was a really fucking hot day, and we were like, oh, like we're a bit tired, like let's just get it done. You're like, Jackson was like, no, everyone, here's some vibe ants. We're gonna fucking go. Yeah. We all just ate vibe ants, and we were just like getting everything ready so fucking fast. So funny.
And in the rain.
Yeah, it was hot
almost
and
the
rain.
entire
And windy.
all
Yeah.
set up.
Because we all got a lot of us got pretty burnt. Myself and Gately got really burnt. We just completely forgot about sunscreen, like idiots.
He wasn't messing around.
But then, then just rain all afternoon. So, it was a challenge. It was an uphill battle.
Definitely slowed us down.
We had to paint some of the stage on site because of the way the panels were joined, and I was like, oh, it's fucking raining. I'm going to wait till the rain stops. I'm not going to do it now because otherwise the paint will leak. And then the rain never stopped. And by the time I realised that, there was no light anymore. And I had to paint in the dark in the rain. And Jackson had set up a little RGB flashing light in front of the stage. So it was just like alternating fucking colours while I'm trying to paint this fucking stage. There was so much
Tell me
pressure.
that. I should have changed it for you.
I asked, I was like, does it just have one colour? And you're like, no, I can't do that. I was like, all right.
I was probably too busy with my head and other stuff.
Yeah, that's a no sleep. So that's
You're
Give it
also
up.
painting like the hardest part
Yeah.
to paint too. So like we had done majority of the the painting at home, but still had to paint like the cornucopia mouth, which was basically like sort of like these some like lines that had to have like proper symmetry done and done in like an organized way, and there was no sort of like you can't mess that up.
No, there was a lot of pressure.
Here's Bryleigh doing it in the dark, in the rain,
With
with black paint
multicoloured
on like orange and brown, so it's like slightly liquid. Don't know how she did
I
it.
did have to walk into the paddock and just let out like a banshee scream
God, I remember
because I was feeling so tense about starting the painting of the cornucopia mouthpiece. And it was a horrific scream, but it worked and I got it done. So
and it looks fucking sick.
yeah, it looked all right. It was all right. It was good.
It was all right.
Come on, mate. It was
I
fucking
got
great.
it done. I got it done.
so
That was
good.
all that needed.
That day honestly was brutal. Like I remember telling people about it, and it was we started by about 10 a.m. and it was midnight by the time we wrapped up.
Yeah.
And
Big day.
it just rained,
And
and
then
the only
finally
time we
again.
stopped was to eat a bit of pizza
Yeah.
for dinner, and then it was just back at it.
Yeah.
It was pretty brutal.
But the vibes were high.
Yeah. it was fun.
I felt like we were
Bit
all
different to the
maybe
pack down.
Yeah. We don't talk about the pack down.
Hello.
No one say star pickets.
Oh shit.
No, the setup was great.
It was fun.
Yeah, shout out to Vibet.
I think there was like a massive mood shift once we got like our speaker set up and could play some music, because for the majority we were just kind of like
Yeah.
setting
In
up
silence.
and just doing little missions and doing whatever we had to do. But like, yeah, once we had some music playing,
We had the Venga bus playing.
yeah,
Oh, that was
that was all the
perfect.
difference.
So good. So with the sets, we were saying before that like it was all different kinds of genres and stuff, and that was one of my favorite things about Cornucopia is like the absolute mix of all the genres. Were you organising the set list, Nath? Is it you and Lynchy? or-
Yeah. So it was myself and Lynchy. I feel like it was pretty collaborative
Yeah.
with people. Like anyone who was actually playing, we had an idea for what we wanted for each day, but then, you'd offer the 2-hour set to someone and they'd be like, oh, I'll do a bit of that, but I reckon I'll throw in like a bit of this type of house or this type of techno, and you could work with that to create like a flow. So I think Friday was sort of like house music into techno, and finished with some really heaving techno from our mate Loz that absolutely shredded her set.
Killed it.
Yeah, that was cooked. And then the next day on the Saturday, we started with some like chill music into bass music into D&B, and yeah, Michaela and Tom were our 4 hours of D&B in the afternoon, and it was
Mr. Drop Frame
Mr. Drop Frame.
and Morphica.
Yeah, just created a perfect daytime heave. And then, Saturday night was Psytrance and ended with one of the most ludicrous closing sets.
Oh yeah.
Who was responsible for that?
Why, you're welcome, Mr. Cyrus here. So for anyone who's watching, listening,
say
that
shout out.
doesn't know what Guardian Records is,
Google it.
Google it.
Yeah,
listen
can't.
to
Get educated.
listen to fucking Cyrus's closing set.
You got to wear a pair of Speedies while listening to it, though.
Going fast.
It's like progressive Psy, in the style of like, it's a bit bushy, it's a bit Xenon-esque, except it's like at 165 BPM. So it's like faster than most D&B, except it's 4 on the floor. Like it's just ludicrous. And so many of the people that were in the crowd had never heard it before. So they were just getting fucking baptized by like all this sub bass. Like I had people coming up to me and being like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are we listening
so
to?
keen for it all day.
Yeah, it was so good. And ended with the frog song, which was perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, frog.
I think like when Nathan and I were like talking about programming and the fact that we were like doing our own party, we were like, surely we have to play some Guardian Records. Like, surely it has to happen. Because we saw him at Tanglewood 2 years ago. Stayed up all night to catch him.
Farsia.
Farsia, who runs Guardian Records. And it was like one of the best sets ever, because you don't expect to stay up all night and get to something like that. And feel like you're energized and energetic, but like because the music's it's fast and it's not like obnoxious or ostentatious or anything, but it just gives you heaps of energy. So like
It's tricky to do it right.
It's very primitive. It's very primitive.
Yeah,
like we stayed up all night for that, and I remember I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And like as soon as that first beat hit, I was like, I'm fucking ready.
It's very tribal.
I was like, let's go.
Yeah, so that was definitely like we had to do it if we're running our own party, and I'd been like buying some of the releases on Bandcamp. So it was like a cool opportunity to just, try and figure out how to get from, Psytrance, which is like 140, 144, 146 BPM into Guardian Records, which is at 165. So it was a lot of fun to put that together. And I think I did an all right job in
You fucking shredded.
Well
you did good, man.
Definitely.
140 BPM.
Still spoken about today.
Yeah.
Given the audience reaction,
It released.
Look at people and they're just like,
what the fuck is going on?
I knew for myself that like none of my friends, were going to expect me to be playing that type of music or even hear that type of music. But having some homies like come into the booth and being like, what the fuck is this music, bro? Like, what are we listening to? Like, Morphica, who was one of our drum and bass DJs who we live with, she even came up and she's like, "This music's dangerous." I don't ever think I'll forget that.
Are you gonna upload that set so people can give it a listen?
I've got like we did record all the sets, so I've currently got them. But yeah, I think I just need to put them into Ableton and maybe like chuck them into a limiter because I was listening
you want
to
more
Cloud and there was just it just sounds like there's some stuff that's a bit quiet and maybe not normalized. So I might just squish it into a limiter and see how we go.
I've heard it and listened to it when I was at the gym, and I literally felt like I was a fucking warrior. Just like, it gave me so much energy. During your set, I was saying that like I wanted to fight my dad with an axe. Like it was giving me mad Viking energy.
Yeah, I always talk about it like if you've seen The Matrix, and there's that scene when they go to Zion for the first time and they're having like the massive rave in the tunnel, and it's just music that reminds me of that scene of music where it's just humans going nuts for the trance dance. So
it does take you away.
So yeah, from there, that fucking legendary set, we did more of like a strip back, just a regular house day that got a bit melodic, got a bit psychedelic, but was pretty tame. Like, we like for a final day to keep it pretty low key and get people
Sunday
home
was
safe.
so much
You've missed the most important Sunday set, the opening Sunday set.
Yeah, the
ambient.
Tombient and JVK Killstar. That was the best way to start the morning.
It was kind of like ambient music with ridiculous
MC.
guided meditation over the top of it, you know.
Stand up
Comedy kind of.
You give Drop Frame a microphone and no leash, and he will just talk absolute malarkey at whoever will listen.
Don't forget puppies exist.
I remember waking up feeling like absolutely horrible, and I like walked down to the main area and I just hear like speaking and ambient music, but the speaking was like going like, and there was an orange.
Yeah, that was definitely my fault. Like I could hear Tom playing with all of the effects on the mixer, and I was like, I haven't heard him use Helix yet. So I can go in and like stick my head in the booth. I'm like, you should try Helix and play with the time knob. And like I'm walking away from the booth and I can hear him fucking with it already, and I'm like, I've made the right decision.
So good. You were saying before that we recorded all the sets, and we also recorded videos of these sets as well. And we were really lucky enough to have like friends who like, do photography as well. And like we were like had so many people coming in and sharing their like talents with us. And are we going to release those videos? What are we going to do, you reckon?
Yeah, so the actual recordings that we did of the sets with the fixed cameras didn't work out as well as I hoped at nighttime. So there's some usable footage there, probably not enough to make full sets out of it. However, our friend Reese, who you just mentioned, who was very kindly running around with his camera and his drone.
At Edge Video.
Yeah, at Edge Video. He has got some really nice footage. He's actually shown me some of it, and he's going to put together a little after movie for us, which Nathan has already seen, I think.
Epic.
Yeah, we both had a little squiz at that actually.
So so it's kind of the first draft, but I'm keen to see the final.
A lot of this has happened because like we're surrounded by like people who have their own little talents. Like not only do we have like people who, DJ, we've also got performers and videographers and photographers and like it's already in our inner circle, and like people just want to come together and share that.
Real community collaboration.
There's a lot of passion behind all of it, especially the DJs, and that was reflected in the crowd throughout the whole weekend. Like everybody was just so stoked to be there.
Yeah, everyone has the best time. People were coming up and being like, oh my God, I can't believe you guys did this. And like, it's been like a couple weeks now, and I have friends still message you being like, can't stop thinking about Goat Doof, because that was our nickname for it as well, Goat Doof or Corn.
Hell yeah.
And people were like, I wish I was back there. And like, like people have been asking like, are you going to throw another one? And like, it's just been fucking unreal to see that.
Yeah. That was such a vibe at Solace as well when we went, and I think that was one of the elements we wanted to hope to create.
Yes.
Was because Solace was such a safe and comfortable and fun and so many wonderful people that it was awesome to have been able to create that as well.
Two of the main Solace organisers were at Goat Doof on the Friday and for Saturday morning, and I sat down with them, shout out Arnie and Georgia, and was like, do you guys know that this was all born from like immediately after Solace, and they didn't know. So I told them the tent story, and they're like, really? Like they had no idea that Solace had inspired us in such a way that we had put, you know, the doof that they were then at on. And it was a really cute, like, full circle moment to let them know that, yeah, like we were just so inspired by this, like, you know, less than 100 people, just like real community vibes. If you don't know someone, you'll be mates with them by the end of the weekend kind of vibe. Like, and yeah, I think we were lucky to bring some of that to ours too, and while still kind of being its own thing.
Yeah. And such an elite setup having the chill zone. So we had like 2 massive 6-meter gazebos with couches, coffee tables, right, I don't know, like a few meters behind the stage. I think that was just so elite because even if you don't have energy or you're feeling a bit tired, you can go sit on the couches, still hear everything so well, be a part of it, but talk to people who are chilling with you. That's what they did at Solace, so we wanted to do that as well because that was just such a good call.
Chill space is crucial.
It
to a
just
good
made it
dance
so
floor.
special.
The kettle. The kettle was a great
The
idea.
tea station.
Yeah, we weren't allowed fire.
Oh, yeah.
So it's fire warning area for all of
Made it hard.
Ararat, and part of our agreement with Anna's parents and the farm was that we were no fires.
Yeah.
So no open flame. That's no camp cookers or anything like that.
3 days is a while, so
Shout out Anna and Anna's family.
Yeah. It's going down
Big
for real.
time.
But yeah, having the kettle just to like make teas, like I didn't use it, but like I saw people, I saw it get used, like
noodles, tea,
noodles,
very
coffees,
handy.
tea. Yeah, it was
It's like
definitely
lots of warm
clutch decision.
food is.
I even saw someone like preparing themselves a hot shower with the kettle.
Someone was like, yes, they literally
genius.
Yeah.
I think that was Tegan.
It was Tegan, yeah, it was Tegan.
It was,
Kept
of
boiling
course it was
the
Tegan.
kettle and
Yes,
eventually
Tegan,
had
of
enough to have a warm
course.
shower at the back of the van.
That's luxurious.
Obsessed.
so
It's a hack.
So
Sad
cool.
I didn't think of that. I could have done with a shower.
I like to doof and not shower. I like to have a layer of dirt.
Get real dirty.
Yeah.
It's like
Get real
insulation.
dirty.
I'll
It's a good
return to the
thing.
dirt.
It's a good thing.
I was molded by it.
But like, yeah, I feel like in the chill tent we had like, what was it, like 5 couches, and then we had like a big like kick on sign, and then there was which sadly broke on the
R.I.P.
first night.
Thanks,
and then
Luca.
we had like a table with a kettle and like tea bags there and some milk and whatnot.
$500.
$500 on the table, which was not stolen. Thank you, everybody. And like fairy lights and everything. And I just think that's just like
it was
a necessary thing that we need, especially like, you know, even like big festivals that I've been at, like, you know, Rainbow and Esso and all of that. Like, oh man, if they had like giant gazebos or something
I
like
know,
that at the
right
back with
behind one of the
couches
stages,
and
I know.
heaps of couches, that would be fucking sick.
Yeah, because they normally have like a weird climby thing that you can sort of sit on, but like not massive space.
That would be sick.
It makes it
we
feel
could
really
just take
homely.
our own one.
Yeah.
There.
Especially with like the coffee
That matches the
tables
theme
and stuff.
and everything. Yeah, that would
Just
be
set up the Cornucopia stage at Esoteric this year. At the back of
esoteric.
Sunset.
Yeah,
Just bring it.
that would be
Theme
sick.
couch.
I feel like the chill space is crucial for like dance floor longevity.
Oh yes,
Like being
have a
able
breather.
to chill out, give your legs a rest, or if you've like really gone to the end of your energy's limit and you really still don't want to go to sleep, you don't want to miss out on anything, you just sit in the couch and watch and just hang out.
Vibing.
Yeah.
So necessary.
It also served a crucial purpose, and that was when the doof ended.
Oh,
By the way,
yeah.
we ended with what I think was so much fun, and that was a set of just classics. Just any of the like organizer DJs were welcome to come up and just spin a few tracks, but it was like just classic songs that, you know, classic remixes, even if it was cheesy as hell, just to like end on a really high note, like a very nostalgic kind of note. But when we did finally wrap up, we just moved all of the couches into like a little square, a little rectangle, and anyone who was still awake would just like come kick on. We're going to have like a final quick kick on.
And were all of us
such a
there?
highlight.
Absolutely.
S tiers. S tiers.
The thing that is interesting, it was like the people who hadn't spent a few days setting up beforehand and like running the thing mostly were like, oh, I'm pretty wrecked, like I'll go to bed, gonna head home
Keep
tomorrow.
kicking
We're all
on.
like no, we're all gonna kick on.
Can someone explain this S tier thing?
Well, that was the kick. Yeah, Nathan's best at describing.
So we had an idea at, I think it was your birthday party or, one of the parties at Lizzie's house, that similar to the way on YouTube you might have seen like rankings of, I don't know, like video games or characters or someone's albums or something, where there's a ranking system where S is the highest and then A, B, C, D, E, like all the way. And, you know, if something's really like elite, it gets an S tier. And if something's pretty shit, like it obviously falls down. And at this kick on, we were like, we should have one with our mates for how they go on the sesh. So like if they're yeah, exactly. Like how good are you at seshing? And so like, you know, the people who are always coming to events, who always stay out late, they always kick on, you know, they're there when the kick on ends, they're S tier. So there was like a few people who were like, they're always there. Like Lizzie's one of them, Anna, whose land it was. I feel like I stray in and out of being an S tier, but, you know, we're pretty close.
Surely not. Surely you're always in S tier.
Yeah, mostly.
I just didn't want to put myself in there. You know?
Oh, you're too humble.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then, like the decision was made that anyone who attended that kick on was instantly
Automatically
S
for the
tier.
year. And then we'll grade each other as the year goes on.
So you have to maintain the S tier.
Need to go to events and you need to kick on after them if you want to remain S tier.
I'm going to drop down all the way to D. Very quickly.
You go to an E for leaving.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Down to L for leaving. Sorry.
Loser.
You aren't on the tiers anymore.
But yeah,
Who's
it'll be like a Christmas thing. Like when we have our Christmas get together, we'll reassess and, you know, based on how you went during the year, we'll have a big board and we'll have little cutouts of photos of each person, and we'll be like, you know, Chris, you're an S tier. Like CJ, sorry, I hate to break it to you, you're a D.
So excited for my crown.
I want a slideshow presentation that
We could come up
accompanies the
with that.
whiteboard.
Surely.
Yeah.
If we can run a Doof, we can do
We'll
a
work it.
slideshow.
Can we handle PowerPoint?
As long as we've got like a laser pointer for some.
Through the goat.
When you're talking about the closing set on Sunday with just banger after banger after banger, that's sort of like Cornucopia was we took our most favourite things from other festivals that we had been at. So like the Grounding Break, which was inspired by Boom, and then the Setup inspired by Solace, and then the banger after banger on the Sunday night is inspired from our friends Doof that runs Hopkins Creek, and they on the Sunday night just do banger after banger, classic after classic, and it's just the best vibe. Like everybody's there, all in the one stage closes, and everyone's just at the last stage, and it's just mint. So it's so nice to just take all your favorite parts of everything and just create.
That's what
Epic Doof, the goat Doof.
It had a big name to live up
It
to.
did. But we had Capricorn to fall back on if it wasn't the Capricorn representation. But the goat lasted.
When you were talking about bangers, all I could imagine was remember was when you were playing all your hot girl shit remixes, but then you were wearing a fucking cattle decapitation t-shirt. And you were like, yes, with this fucking heavy metal t-shirt on. It's fucking iconic.
Life's about balance, okay?
He's a diverse man.
Yeah, there's no death metal without hot girl shit. So.
This is a fact. I just also thought it was so special, like looking around, you know, for me, like nighttime, like looking around, seeing all of your friends having the best time in these funny little outfits, fluffy hats, all of the things, and then seeing all the flow art everywhere, like LED flow art, be that, you know, fiber optic whips, LED hoops, spew gangs, poi. Like there was always something so awesome to like sit back and watch and like see your friends.
Everything really helped to create the atmosphere, all the performers, like what you just said. It was so, every little thing just helped to create that
Big festival
environment.
atmosphere.
And we're very fortunate. We've got a lot of friends who are very talented. A couple of them are sitting right here. All three of them, actually.
Yeah. So good.
And even like during the day, like people were playing with like silk fans and shit, like and dragon staffs and stuff. Like there was always something like entertaining going on, whether that be like the music or the performers or like just silly stuff, you know. Like one of our friends, Beck, she bought this like wooden like DJ like.
I remember
DJ
that was
deck.
funny. The little
The
wooden
baby's
mixer.
first DJ.
Baby's first DJ decks, and she has this
That's
like
so
fluffy
good.
mustache on that Nick, our friend, always passes around at festivals. She's got this mustache on. She's crouched down and she's like playing with these DJ sets and like make
Such
a whole
an
performance
iconic
out of it. I just like love the absicle, like the absicle. I was going to say absolutely and whimsical, but kind of fits in. But
Absicle.
the absicle whimsicalness of our festivals, you know. It's just like everything. There was always so much funny shit going on. Like our friend Will that lent us the lights. He he was like going around with like pegs and like he was doing this at Subterra as well. It was like going around like, you know, getting people with pegs and stuff like that. And then somebody else would adopt that idea. And like by the end of it, everyone was just like, I was going to say everyone was pegging each other,
Everyone
but
was
I don't
trying to peg each other.
Yes, it's accurate.
A lot of people got paid.
like we even got home and we find like fucking pegs in our clothes and shit. And like,
That happened before
Such
we
a
came
funny
here.
game.
You were like, "Oh, do you want
Yeah.
me to wash your scarf?" And she holds it up. There's a fucking peg attached to it.
Yeah. My husky beanie still has a peg on its ear. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago now.
Should we do like highlight, like everyone's
Yeah.
individual highlight?
let's go with
Do you want to
everyone's
start?
highlights. Well, I feel like for me, my highlight was actually using my brand new hoop, which a lot of my friends actually put in for, my new mood hoops, which is sick, and like being able to spin it for the first time and just like not only like having people watch me, but my best friends watch me perform at a doof that we created while my partner is DJing and like everyone's just there like supporting each other, like cheering for each other. And it's just like that feeling of just being supported, like, and knowing that everyone was there for our birthdays just made me so happy. Like that was my highlight.
Celebrating you.
Everyone,
Yeah.
Bryleigh and
Yeah.
I'd say like a broader general one for me was that the flow of the music programming worked because like, you know, you think it'll work and you think from all the festivals you've been
it can
to.
easily not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
it
you-
is very, very impressive.
Thank you.
Very-
Yeah, I'm glad it worked.
Yeah.
And then a specific one was when we were at Solace and we were in the tent to finish like, and the conversation about this doof came about. The first thing that kicked it off was one of us being like, we could do this. And then on Saturday night, we're all a bit loose, a bit wild. And Lizzie comes up to me and she was like, "Oi, Nathan." I went, "Yeah, what?" She's like, points around it all. She's like, "We could do this." And it fucking sent me. I was gone for so long.
Deception.
Deception.
It's funny.
Oh, geez, highlight for me. Maybe I'll say one that was like personal and then one that's a bit more broad and general.
Just one.
Don't get too carried away.
Would be, yeah, like I guess like spending a lot of time in the lead up to the event on the sets that I played. It felt like when I started, it was like, you know, like anything creative, it was like fun and easy. And then the longer that like I sort of worked on some stuff, it became less fun and more like work. Then it eventually got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to stop this and then just play them at the at the goat. And then having, you know, them responded to so well was like something I'm just not used to and like didn't really know how to take a lot of that feedback. But to see how many people enjoyed what I'd put all this creative energy into was like really gratifying and super nice. And then as a broader one, which we've kind of echoed before just through this conversation, was how so many people felt comfortable and safe to just be themselves. And I had a couple of friends who have gone to festivals with us and not found that that moment for themselves where they can sort of just let it all be and that they can just be themselves and be free. And having a couple of friends come up and, you know, have a little powwow with me in a yarn and them echo that, and not just them say it, but you can like hear through the weight of their words that like they're fully in and just having such a good time on their own, and then collectively with everyone else was great. You know, so many times of me just being out on the dance floor and like looking around and just like watching everyone get it was just worth all of the hard work that we had put in. It was fucking mint.
Yeah, I'm going to say something, similar to that, but like quite specific. So one of my friends who came, who probably doesn't know a vast majority of the people that were there. She came with her partner, and she's autistic, and I have another autistic friend as well that's there, and they've never met before. And there was this moment that, like, I just will never forget it because it's just such a beautiful moment. So, yeah, my friend that came, she sometimes gets a little bit anxious, obviously, as most people do in groups where you don't know a lot of people. And she's like, oh, sometimes, like, you know, when I'm anxious, I tend to overshare. I talk too much. It's like, oh, well, who cares? But, like, you know, anyway, it's something she thinks about. Anyway, this moment, my two friends that I had introduced were talking away, and I just hear my friend sort of stop and go, oh, I'm talking too much, I'll just stop. And my other friend just leant over and was just like, no, tell me your life story. Yeah. And I was just like, because it's just such a like never don't be yourself, because you don't know who out there wants to receive you and needs you. Like, everybody has people out there, like, always be yourself, or else you'll walk by the people that, you know, it was just such a cool, like, it's very specific, but also
So special.
just,
It's
echoes the whole thing.
yeah.
It's just such a nice, so beautiful. It was like Loz and Lucy. Like, I don't know why I didn't mention names. That's a beautiful story. Hello out there if you're watching. But they're just both legends, and it was so nice they could just both meet, and they were just like, so nice.
I feel like mine's almost in a similar vein to CJ's, where on the Saturday night, Michaela gave me her hula hoop, her LED hoop to hold, and then I just ran away with it and started using it instead. So don't ever ask me to hold your flow props, because I will just fucking use them. But yeah, so I just was using that and dancing, and I didn't think anyone was watching, so I was dancing however I wanted to and moving however I wanted to. And just the fact that I was standing there in front of this stage that like CJ and I had like collaborated on, seeing it in real life, and everyone had participated in like creating it, and just being at this party that we had created from the ground up was just the most gratifying and highlight of my entire weekend. Was just, I feel like I really like zeroed in that moment and just took in all the work we'd put in. Jackson doubled the amount of work that we'd put in, but we all like came together, and that for me was probably my highlight. And also listening to Christopher's set on the Sunday, who wouldn't let me listen to it in the lead up to the Goat Doof, because he had chucked in so many songs, so many of my favorite songs, and I cried so many times. I'm going to cry now talking about it. It was really sweet, and I cried so many times during that set.
They're such good songs.
Oh, it was special. Hit me right in the heart. It was intense. But I wasn't the only one. There was like multiple people on that dance floor that also cried, and we were all kind of...
What do I do with that?
You fucking jerk. I feel like we're all
That's incredible.
Bonding over just being brought to tears by everything around us.
Yeah, it's just so considerate. Like the way you thought about like your set. That's what I mean. It's amazing and very impressive. It was such a considerate.
It's very good.
Music, I know. Like that's just cool.
Yeah, Nathan and I had been fucking chatting shit about the lead up and the music, and that we like really wanted to do something, you know, different, and like try to make sure that like the music just changes the whole weekend, so it's not just this like same or derivative over hours. So yeah, it was dope.
Yeah, I got some Beatles songs. Shout out to Emil, who
The Beatles.
doesn't.
The Ringles.
Yeah, Emil's not the biggest fan, though maybe he's changing, but he played a Beatles song for me too. So thanks, Emil.
We love. Kind of hard for me to pick one thing, honestly. Like there's a lot of very small, intricate things that I could pick out, or just the whole thing. I think for me, just like watching the whole thing come together from an idea originally at Solos, like we mentioned, through to kind of taking, you know, all the ideas and mashing them together and working out, all these bits and pieces. In the end, actually seeing it finally come together as a completed product, and seeing sort of some of the visions that I had from a maybe more of a production point of view come to life, and everyone being able to enjoy them, and also just seeing the collaboration from you guys and the crew, and shout out to Maurice as well, who gave us a hand on the setup day.
There were
and
lots
Britt,
of
and
little,
Britt.
like people that helped do lots of
Yeah.
things for sure.
So yeah, it's
Very
really
team environment.
Yeah, so just like seeing the whole thing come together and just seeing that we could actually do what we set out to do, and I think we exceeded our own expectations as well as a lot of our friends. I think everyone who rocked up was just like, "Oh shit, this is like way more than I thought it was going to be," which was kind of nice to hear. But yeah, and everyone just played so well. Definitely a big shout out to Lynch's Sunday set. That was a real good set. Like I imagine the game will be uploaded for people to listen to, but definitely give that one a sus, if any. Like I said before, Tom and Johnny's hilarious Sunday morning shenanigans. The frog song, we can't forget that. I think you have to be there.
Song.
Yeah, you have to be there for that one. But
Actually, I've got this lined up for you right now.
Yeah, that's legit how I sounded.
it was just a nonsense song that Lynch ripped from a Instagram video that.
I actually paid for it on Bandcamp.
Oh, you paid for it? You bought it?
Nice.
Wow.
Shout out to Eddie EWI for blooping.
Maybe we can use that as the trailer song.
But yeah, overall, just the whole thing, man. It's hard to really pinpoint one thing. There's just so many highlights. So good.
I've just had another one come to mind that I'm going to share. So suck it. But I feel like it needs a mention. So Nathan and I are, best mates, and the reason for that is one of our friends, David Warnerman, who Nathan and I have been joking about trying to get to a doof or a party for fucking eons, He came to the party for Friday night only. But while Nath was playing, like singing some absolute tunes, like David turns to me and he's like, I feel like Nath's going to play some real ignorant hip hop. And literally not even 30 seconds later, Nath's pointing at David and then mixes into this Shabba remix by ASAP Ferg. And it was just one of those fucking classic weird synchronicity moments where like, how the fuck does David get to say that and then Nathan get to do that and then I get to witness it? Yeah,
Do you want to talk about your cigarette or not?
What was the cigarette?
It's smoke.
Winnie Blues, mate.
This podcast sponsored by.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Well, I will just say, like, everyone did a lot of work and it was all amazing. But I will say Jackson has to take the cake because he babied a lot of us through a lot of the shit we had no fucking idea about. Like, your brain... If we
is a mess.
Yes. And because of that, we were able to fucking work with it. And thank you for
that mess.
Thank you for being so fucking patient with us. Cause obviously I was coming down really hard on the track down day and I was not right. But yeah, you guys were yeah. So
Coming
great.
down for real.
Coming down from all the cigarettes.
Cigarette.
No, I'll just say thank you to you guys as well because you helped make that happen. I can't take all the credit. It was definitely a team effort.
Yeah, it was. It was a team effort. Yeah.
Next time, maybe we'll know more shit.
We'll learn. We'll do some learning.
We'll learn how to do ratchet straps and how to put things on top of cars.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, and also what chords are what.
Yeah, that's a good first step.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Baby steps.
We'll get there. But I think we are possibly going to do this again.
There will be more, yes.
So?
There will definitely be more.
Something similar. So
A little bit more from us.
There will be more for that. But I think that we might be doing something at Underland.
Yeah. It's not officially confirmed yet, but that's the vision, is to try and take this to Underland as a theme camp, which is the Victorian regional burn event that happens annually around late September.
How many theme camps are there normally?
Underland's in its kind of infancy for the most part. So last year there was only 10. Lynch was there with me, maybe 8 or 10, maybe not even that.
There was four or five sound camps and then a bunch of other little
quirky
theme
things
camps that weren't playing music but
cool.
had stuff going on.
It's in its infancy though. It's growing. It's it's sort of
It was only its second year last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can definitely kind of see it, but it's got like all the markers to be like a pretty cool event. It's in like it's on a super nice site. Like the suburb it's in is literally called Paradise. And it's just like rolling hills. There's no dirt. It's all grass and not dry grass either because of the time of the year that it's in. But yeah, pretty cool little event.
Shout out to the non-dry grass. Very
That's a
specific.
moist grass.
Roll around
Not dry grass either, because of the time of year.
All my homies hate dry grass.
Friendship ended with dry grass.
Everything's ruined.
But yeah, so I think we'll maybe do that. And then in future, if we do run more events, I feel like it will probably be like a friends of friends kind of vibe. People who
yes, you can't come.
Can only have to be able to vouch for people in order to have them come.
people who
If not-
don't fuck the vibe, people who don't drop rubbish, and people who know how
Yeah.
to party and handle
People that
themselves.
don't go,
That is
you know, those sort of people.
That's what I
You
was
know what I
thinking.
mean?
Yeah.
We want people who smoke cigarettes, you know?
Just one cigarette.
cigarette.
Singular.
So is there
you can
anything else that
handle
you
it.
guys want to say before we wrap up?
I'd just like to say thanks for Gately for being here.
Yeah, shout out to Gate.
That is a classic Gately move too. He missed multiple meetings in the lead up to the Doof. Now isn't here for this debrief.
I think he had a lot of really profound things to say today.
Thanks
for your
shout out to
contribution.
Gate.
Shout
If
out,
only we could have heard them.
Yeah.
shout out to Gate for nearly ruining the Doof by spilling a beer on the decks.
Oh no, there's always one.
We'll show
To be
you the
fair,
video.
Gate and I were talking last night, and we both fucked up royally in the setup or in the for the duration of this.
The steak.
So Gailey unfortunately spilt beer on the DJ decks, but I hammered a steak into the cord trenches. Where
Trench
all
of power,
the
trench of power cables.
electrical cords were
Steak
running
through it.
through. So yeah, apparently I didn't know this, but Britt very lovingly told me last night that there was a nick in one of the cords.
Oh my
Very shallow.
so
I did freak out.
So
I like ran into the
lucky.
DJ booth and I was like, did anything turn off or explode? And Gay was like, no. And I was like, all right, we're fine. Let's go. All zoom in. So I've learned. Don't stake pumpkins
Die
in
before you dig.
power trenches. Yeah. Yeah, die before you dig. Exactly.
And also shout out to Anna/Tron for not putting her foot through a fucking pumpkin, because all of us who know
Right.
Tron, all of us who know Tron know that when Tron comes out, she'll fuck shit up. And she was
without asking.
without asking, whether
she
that's a TV or whether that's a pumpkin. But shout out Tron for not fucking our pumpkins. We love you.
I
I still reckon we should have let her do it.
I know.
as
Maybe
a
after
gift,
after the next
the
event.
next one,
As a gift,
I'll
we'll bring
deliver
one
a pumpkin.
and she can put her
for her.
But oh, cool.
Yeah.
Full moon was pretty cool. I feel like we didn't.
Oh yeah, it was
Yes,
a full moon.
it was a full moon in
It
Leo,
looked beautiful.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Full moon in Leo, which is like the perfect vibe. I remember.
She just
like-
wanted to come hang out with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I remember like throughout the night people would like grab my hand and like be like, come over here, we're running into
Yeah,
the field.
so
I'm like,
many, look
okay.
at the moon.
Run into the field, they were like, whoa, the moon, bro.
All from cigarettes.
It had this like beautiful aura. It was stunning.
Yeah.
The moon was everything.
She was pretty cheeky.
She was so cheeky.
Coming out to say hello. I was a big fan. That was also coincidental, but it was a very, very nice synchronicity that we ended up throwing our party under a full moon.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, that is us. Thank you so much for watching, and really, really appreciate you spending time with us and listening to our journey with throwing our first bush doof. If you do want to watch this, it'll be on YouTube, and follow us on Patreon. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye guys.
Bye.
Thanks, TJ.
Frog song.
And she has one more highlight.
Punchy.